Hello there everyone, very good evening to all of you and welcome to the news tonight where we get you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Of course, our top focus here in the capital with the Kejriwal problem against not just the LG but now bureaucrats as well. Boiling ahead, we'll get you details of that in just a bit. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Amid the ongoing power tussle, the Delhi government now accuses bureaucrats of running a transfer posting industry in the capital. The BJP delegation urges the president to step in and resolve the crisis. BJP unveils grand plans to counter opposition charges of Modi government being pro-industrialists. Will promote flagship schemes for the poor as part of the campaign to celebrate a year in office. In a first for Indian military aviation, the Air Force successfully test lands a Mirage 2000 jet on the Yamuna Expressway. Declassified documents seized from Osama bin Laden's Abbottabad hideout reveals Al-Qaeda's praises for the 26/11 attacks and the German bakery blast in Pune. And the Islamic State militants enter the World Heritage Site of Palmyra in Syria. UNESCO warns of destruction of artifacts that would be an enormous loss to humanity. Our top story, amid the ongoing power tussle in Delhi, the AAP government has now started targeting bureaucrats. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia today alleged that officials have been running a transfer posting industry in the national capital. This comes a day after IS officials expressed anguish over the way top bureaucrats have been treated in the ongoing LG versus CM crisis.
The Delhi government has denied reports that the morale of its officers had been hit by the row between the Chief Minister and the Lieutenant Governor. The government has been locked in an ugly spat with the Lieutenant Governor over the posting and transfer of senior officers, particularly those from the IS. This has fueled speculation that the morale of IS officers in the Delhi government has been hit and that some are seeking postings elsewhere. Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia alleges that the officials have been running what he called a transfer posting industry in Delhi.
दिल्ली में अधिकारियों की ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग एक धंधा बनी हुई थी, एक बहुत बड़ी इंडस्ट्री बन गई थी। उसको हमने रोका है पिछले 3 महीने में। जो भी ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग हुए हैं योग्य अधिकारियों के ईमानदारी से, जिसकी जहां योग्यता है वहां किए हैं हमने। इससे बहुत लोगों को दर्द हो रहा है। पहले करोड़ों रुपए लाखों रुपए कमाए जाते थे ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग से, पूरी इंडस्ट्री चलती है ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग की, उसको हमने रोका है, इसलिए बहुत लोगों को दर्द हो रहा है इसमें।
His jibe at the bureaucrats comes a day after a group of serving and retired IS officers protested against the treatment meted out to some of the bureaucrats in the ongoing crisis. Sisodia's remark was strongly criticized by other parties. A BJP delegation met the president on Thursday, urging his intervention to resolve the crisis. Even some of the former lieutenant governors came out in support for Najib Jung.
राष्ट्रपति जी के सामने वो मुद्दा रखा है और हमने कहा है कि दिल्ली के अंदर एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल क्राइसिस है, डेडलॉक है और एक बहुत बड़ा जो हालात हैं वो आपस में सामंजस्य की कमी है जो साफ रूप से नजर आ रही है। और आज जो मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने एक बड़ा आरोप या कहिए या खुलासा किया है कि दिल्ली के अंदर ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग की इंडस्ट्री चल रही थी, उसके बारे में हमने राष्ट्रपति जी से कहा इंटरवीन किया जाए।
I think it's shocking for Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, to call transfer posting an industry. Probably wanted to run an industry which the LG of Delhi did not permit him. So he must come clean. What is his intention? If he wanted to run an industry, it is a sad state of affairs, and that's not how an administration in the state of Delhi is run.
Delhi is a union territory. It is administered by the president, by an administrator who may be called administrator, who may be called commissioner, who may be called lieutenant governor, and it is his final say which is there.
The tussle over authority in appointing senior officials has already reached the doorsteps of the President and the Prime Minister. Both Arvind Kejriwal and Najib Jung have met him this week. While the Lieutenant Governor claims that Kejriwal is taking decisions without his consent, the Aam Aadmi Party government has accused the centre of trying to influence governance in Delhi through the LG. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, so let's get in some more reactions. We got Mr. V.K. Agnihotri, is the former Secretary General with the Rajya Sabha, joining us in studio this evening. Mr. Agnihotri, thank you so much for joining us. What do you make of this mudslinging that we are seeing, not just between the LG and the Chief Minister, the Delhi government, but also now with the bureaucrats falling in between?
Actually, as one of the persons who came before me said already, that the Delhi government is administered by the President through the agency of the Administrator, Lieutenant Governor, etc. And the Lieutenant Governor, in turn, as per the Constitution, is aided and advised by the Council of Ministers. But he has been given discretionary powers under an act, and that is the NCT Delhi Act of 1991. And according to that act, he has vast discretionary powers, in the sense that he has discretionary powers except in matters which are under the purview of the State Legislative Assembly. And the act further says, that is section 41, I am quoting, that what is a matter in which the LG has discretion is something which the LG himself will decide. I mean, he cannot be questioned. So that is one aspect of the matter. The second aspect is that, of course, the Delhi government does not have a cadre of its own. It has a union territories cadre, and the officers are transferable among various union territories such as Goa and Mizoram and Union Territory of Delhi, of course. And therefore, it is the Home Ministry which is the cadre controlling authority, and the LG himself is required to take prior approval of the Home Ministry in terms of postings and transfers of at least 4 officers. And that is the Chief Secretary, the Commissioner of Police, the Home Secretary, and the Secretary Land. So his powers are restricted, but ultimately it is the central government which advises him about these matters.
All right. Of course, but we're just talking about, how the bureaucrats are reacting now to this. We've got, in fact, just days after he was removed, the Principal Secretary of Services Department, as Principal Secretary of Services Department, Anindya Majumdar now is hitting back, saying that what he went through was completely humiliating and he's not going to follow any unconstitutional orders. Is this the sentiment that is now being reflected across the bureaucratic community with, Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister himself, saying, ye transfer ka jo business hota hai, isko humne rokne ki koshish ki hai. All these things. Is this demoralizing to them, in this fight against LG versus CM?
Yeah, definitely it is very demoralizing if officers are not sure what orders they have to obey. And that is where, as someone mentioned, the President will have to intervene in this matter, because things have slightly got out of hand. As far as this issue of postings and transfers being an industry, this matter was raised, of course, in the context of another state by a judge of the High Court and Supreme Court himself. And that is where it is a fact that in some matters and in some states, at certain levels, there is things are not all that rosy in terms of postings and transfers. But to make a sweeping comment like that is naturally demoralizing for the bureaucracy, and the President will have to intervene.
All right. And what you're seeing now that's happening between Kejriwal and the Lieutenant Governor, is this unprecedented? Have you seen an issue like this ever happen before in the capital, where the Chief Minister is now trying to overrule the LG, and in this whole thing, the bureaucrats are getting stuck? Have you seen a situation like this, and what solution ahead?
No, this is unfortunate, and of course, in Delhi, this kind of situation in the recent past at least has not arisen, because since the Delhi Assembly has been constituted, there have been most of the time the same governments at the center and in the states.
Yes.
and therefore such a situation has not arisen in the past. But the fact still remains that this was a very simple matter. It was not even the appointment of a full-time chief secretary. It was just an issue of a temporary chief secretary because the previous chief secretary went on leave.
Yes.
And the lieutenant governor in his wisdom thought that this temporary arrangement he can perhaps under his discretionary powers make.
Yes.
And when the issue of full-fledged chief secretary appointment will arise, then he will actually follow the rules prescribed.
And he did choose two of the names that the AAP government had actually suggested.
Yes, so that is where he felt that
Yes.
he is within
Yes.
his rights to
All right.
make the appointment.
All right. Mr. Agnihotri, thank you so much for joining us, giving us, your input into what really is the drama that we're seeing all across the Delhi government, at least at the moment, and hopefully this problem will be solved soon. We'll, of course, keep tracking it here on RSTV. Meanwhile, let's move on. And as the Narendra Modi government completes 1 year in power, it has big plans to promote its achievements and successes. The focus of the promotional campaigns will be schemes related to the poor. With this, the government hopes to dispel the notion that it is anti-farmer and anti-poor. Top BJP leaders will also be a big part of these campaigns.
With an aim to promote its pro-poor and pro-farmer image, the Narendra Modi-led government will focus on social sector schemes as it sets out to celebrate the completion of 1 year in power. In the promotional campaign, the Jan Dhan Yojana, the Insurance Protection Scheme, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme and the Atal Pension Yojana will be hugely promoted. The party plans to fight allegations of being anti-poor and anti-farmer through this.
सामाजिक सुरक्षा की योजनाओं की मैं आपसे बात करता हूं। 92% लोग अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर में काम करते हैं। मोदी सरकार ने उनके लिए अटल पेंशन योजना चलाई है। 1000 रुपया साल का जमा कराओ, 60 साल के बाद 1000 रुपया पाओ।
The party claims that since Modi came to power, not only has the country's economy improved, but the world is now looking differently at India. The party will also need to fight perception that it is friendlier towards the corporate than the common man.
ये कुछ राजनीतिक दल भ्रमित कर रहे हैं, इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि उनको पता है जो हमने सामाजिक सुरक्षा योजना लाए हैं वो आज तक कोई नहीं लाया, इसलिए लोगों का ध्यान भटकाना चाहते हैं। हिंदुस्तान के लोग बहुत समझदार हैं।
The Modi government turns 1 on May 26th. Besides the advertising blitzkrieg, there will be press conferences in several cities, the first of which will be addressed by Arun Jaitley in Delhi on Friday. Public rallies have also been planned, with the Prime Minister himself planning to address several. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Cabinet today gave its approval to amendments in the FDI policy on investments by NRIs, PIOs and OCIs. Aiming to meet the growing demand of urea, the Cabinet also approved the revival of the Sindri-based unit of FCIL and setting up of a new ammonia urea complex at Namrup in Assam.
The Union Cabinet has approved the revival of FCIL unit at Sindri after 13 years. A new ammonia urea complex will also be set up at Namrup in Assam. This will further augment the production of urea in the country.
Investment of 5,500 crore rupees. 5,500 crore rupees. And 1.3 million tons of urea will be produced, and it will be done through the global bidding. And Government of India, our Union Cabinet has also taken the decision of restructuring and reviving Brahmaputra Valley Fertilizer Corporation Limited, BVFCL, in Namrup in Dibrugarh. It will be a joint venture between BVFCL having 11% of share and Government of Assam having 11% of share, and Oil India Limited having 26% of share, and remaining 52% of share will be globally bidded.
Review of FDI policy on investment by NRIs and PIOs and OCIs was also done by the Cabinet. Amendments have been approved to provide that investments made by these people under Schedule 4 of FEMA are domestic investments. The Cabinet also gave its nod to PSLV continuation program of 15 operational flights at a cost of 3,090 crore rupees. An initiative in the automobile sector to create a state-of-the-art testing, validation and R&D infrastructure in the country. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, in a first for military aviation in India, a Mirage 2000 fighter jet of the Indian Air Force test landed on the Yamuna Expressway near Delhi today as part of a drill for emergency landings on national highways. The Indian Air Force has been considering the use of national highways for emergency landings by fighter aircraft.
The Indian Air Force has carried out a successful trial of landing a combat jet on a road runway. The IAF's Mirage 2000 successfully landed on Yamuna Expressway near Mathura on Thursday. IAF has been considering the use of national highways for emergency landing by fighter aircraft. For Thursday's trial, all facilities like makeshift air traffic control, safety services, rescue vehicles, bird clearance parties and other requirements were set in place by the IAF. Officials said such landings can be carried out in emergencies if an active airport is not available under certain circumstances.
The Mirage 2000 on the Yamuna Express Highway was basically a capability demonstration. The operations branch of the Air Force has been in touch with the UP government, the various other authorities. So without their support, this kind of an operation would not have been possible, which has been done. There are some plans afoot to identify, some more patches of highway where similar operations can be carried out.
Defense experts say landing fighters on roads is common across the world, a standard drill that comes into play during wartime when air bases are the first thing that get bombed or hit by missiles. In India, very few roads are available for such landings. The Indian Air Force officials said that it has plans to activate more such stretches on highways in the future. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With a quick break here, up next, the US agrees to consider requests to resettle stranded Asian migrants. Details ahead.
One year in office for the Narendra Modi-led NDA government. Lots of hits and plenty of misses too. On the big picture, that's our theme for the week ahead. First, how has the social sector fared in the last year? Watch the big picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Net Neutrality will present its report soon. The committee met several stakeholders to discuss the issue today. The meeting was attended by representatives of mobile and internet provider companies, including Vodafone, Airtel and Idea. The issue of net neutrality was debated by all political parties during the budget session of Parliament. The Standing Committee, in fact, felt that consumer rights must be protected, and the committee's report is likely to be tabled in the next session of Parliament. The concept of net neutrality provides for equal access to all websites without any partiality.
पार्लियामेंट का पूरा हक बनता है सवाल पूछने के लिए और उस तौर से हम लोग आए हुए हैं इन सवालों का जवाब देने के लिए। अब जैसे ही कमेटी उचित समझते हो अगर हमें दोबारा बुलाना है अगले हफ्ते में अगले महीने में जब हम लोग तैयार।
That's why we have made an agenda on this issue and we have given notices to the stakeholders. Today this BSNL, MTNL and the Vodacom and they are coming. And after that we will call other stakeholders also. This IT committee has taken this issue first. Then it has become an issue. In the Rajya Sabha there was the calling attention. In Lok Sabha there is 193. So that discussion is going on. The main issue with regard to this is that the common people has to get the benefit.
Well, the BJP has denied having any differences with its ally, the PDP, over the granting of a passport to separatist leader Syed Ali Shah Gilani. The party said a decision on the passport will be taken by the centre, keeping in view all security aspects. The process for issuing a passport to Gilani will be the same as that for every Indian or every citizen of India.
The request of hardline Hurriyat leader Syed Ali Shah Gilani for a passport will be proceeded on merit depending on the completion of formalities by him. The Union Home Ministry said this on Thursday amid a row over the issue that has divided the ruling PDP-BJP combine in Jammu and Kashmir.
It will be known to the country. One should not just create controversy out of an issue which is not worth creating a matter of controversy, because when there is a decision taken by the ministry, it will be known to the country.
Each one of us must realize is that the law of land is common to everybody and is equal to everybody. So whoever it be, A, B, C, and whatever be the issue, and as far as the present issue of permission to travel overseas is concerned, the same checks, balances, the same procedures, and the same verifications, whether they be the security verifications or the intelligence verifications, will be applicable to Mr. Gilani as to anybody else. And therefore, anything found objectionable would be applicable to him as much to anybody else.
The BJP has also asserted that there were no differences with the PDP on the issue. The party also said a decision on the matter would be taken by the centre.
What do we feel that in case if anybody who is an inhabitant of this country, if he asks for passport, so he has got full authority to get that passport. And finally it is MHA which has to decide that somebody should be given or should not be given. And when it comes to our stand, what we are saying is for particularly is this, that at least on humanitarian grounds he should be given a passport because his daughter is not well, as we know.
Gilani and his family members are said to have applied for passports online, even though he is yet to visit the regional passport office in Srinagar to give his biometric data. After these formalities are completed, Gilani's application will be sent to the Ministries of Home and External Affairs for their comments, as he falls in prior security clearance category for issuing of passport. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now for all other national stories, let's take you nationwide. The Sensex ended marginally lower on Thursday. It was down by 28 points, closing at just over 27,809. The fall came as blue chips witnessed a mixed trend amid concerns over poor quarterly earnings and a diverse closing at other Asian markets. The National Stock Exchange Nifty too ended 2.25 points or 0.3% down to close at 8,421. Delhi and its neighbouring states, Punjab, Haryana and Himachal Pradesh, have agreed to move towards uniformity in tax rates and develop a common market to boost trade. At a meeting in Delhi, the finance ministers of all the four states also agreed to set up a zonal economic intelligence unit to check tax evasion. The UP Food Safety and Drug Administration has asked the manufacturer of Maggi noodles, Nestle, to withdraw a batch of the noodles manufactured in February 2014. This comes after the food agency found lead above the permissible levels. FMCG major Nestle may also face action from the UP FDA. Normal life in Kashmir Valley came to a standstill on Thursday after a shutdown call by the Hurriyat Conference. The call was made to commemorate the death anniversary of its founding leader Maulvi Farooq Ahmed. Shops, offices and schools remained shut. The streets wore a deserted look and vehicles stayed off roads. Heavy police presence was also deployed across the city to avoid any untoward incident. International Newsline, the US government has released hundreds of documents seized during the raid at Al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden's hideout in Abbottabad. The documents reveal top Al-Qaeda leader crowing about the 26/11 Mumbai terror strikes as heroic and the German bakery blast in Pune as a beautiful, huge bombing. It also described the attacks as success stories to be emulated by other Al-Qaeda affiliate groups globally.
Mumbai attacks of 2008. The terror attack that lasted 4 days, 10 Lashkar-e-Taiba militants carrying out a series of 12 coordinated shootings and bombing attacks across Mumbai, killing 164 people and wounding at least 308. Al-Qaeda documents, now declassified by the US, describes the attack heroic Fidai operation and the blast at a German bakery in Pune in 2010 that killed 17 people and injured over 60 as a beautiful, huge bombing.
In particular, it must be a wake-up call to countries and states which are infested with such mindset, including the actors responsible for all this in Pakistan.
So I think it's time for government to take a more active interest in counter-terrorism.
The 15-page document, Terror Franchise, The Unstoppable Assassin, Tech's vital role for its success, lists the Mumbai terror attack as one of the blessed operations. The documents also directs Al-Qaeda and its affiliates to kill and target Americans and its allies, including those in Britain, Germany and India, with their terror attacks. This was among the large tranche of documents recovered from the US from the compound of the house where bin Laden was hiding when the US secret forces killed the Al-Qaeda leader. Although only a fraction of Al-Qaeda total files were found at the Abbottabad hideaway, they give an insight on the mindset of the Al-Qaeda's founder, his debates over tactics and his anxiety over Western spying. US intelligence officials have described these documents as a treasure trove of information. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Islamic State has gained control of the ancient city of Palmyra in Syria. The government now fears that the world-famous ruins of the ancient city that is also a UNESCO heritage site could be destroyed. After heavy clashes with the military, the Islamic State militants seized the desert city of Palmyra in central Syria on Wednesday. By evening, the militant outfit was in total control of the ancient city. The victory gives the Islamic State another strategically important prize 5 days after the fall of the Iraqi city of Ramadi.
I appeal to all parties involved in the conflict for an immediate ceasefire in and around Palmyra. It is an extremely important World Heritage Site which belongs to the whole of humanity, and we have the responsibility to protect and preserve it. I can't imagine that the world will never see Palmyra anymore.
The Obama administration today agreed to consider requests to resettle migrants coming in from Myanmar and Bangladesh. This after facing much international criticism. Myanmar and Indonesia have reached a deal on the Asian migrant crisis with the condition that the international community resettle them within a year.
A day after Malaysia and Indonesia agreed to a breakthrough deal for resettlement of the migrants, Myanmar braced for its first talks with US and Southeast Asian envoys. Foreign ministers of Malaysia and Indonesia are meeting to discuss ways to provide aid to boatloads of starving migrants. Malaysia has ordered search and rescue missions for thousands of people stranded at sea. The change in their much condemned policy of turning away migrants was welcomed by the United States. Washington has also offered to provide financial and resettlement aid.
We're actively considering our options right now. On two pieces of that, though, I'll start with financial assistance. If the UNHCR and IOM indicate the need for additional funds to assist governments to establish things like reception centers and ensure protection screening procedures, we'll consider those requests. In terms of resettling, I think the Malaysians and the Indonesians have requested some help resettling people. We're taking a careful look at the proposal. We're prepared to take a leading role in any UNHCR organized multi-country effort to resettle the most vulnerable refugees.
The US aid comes following a high-level meeting in Kuala Lumpur where Myanmar and Indonesia agreed to take in the asylum seekers for 1 year until they can be resettled or repatriated with the help of international agencies. Hundreds of stranded migrants from Bangladesh and Myanmar were rescued by fishermen from Indonesian waters after the deal was struck. More than 3,000 migrants, mostly Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar and Bangladesh, have landed so far this month in Malaysia and Indonesia. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now on to some other news updates from across the world. A breakthrough to Greece's financial woes does not look imminent, with European lenders playing down hopes of a swift end to negotiations on an aid agreement. The talks need to be speeded as the country is running out of cash. The sober outlook from Brussels and Berlin contrasted sharply with vigorous optimism displayed in Athens, where top officials from the new leftist government say a deal was just days away. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon has announced talks between warring Yemeni parties in Geneva on the 28th of May to end over 7 weeks of war. This after Iran agreed for international inspections of an aid ship sailing to Yemen. The move is aimed at diffusing the deepening crisis in the southern Arabian Peninsula, where Saudi-led forces killed at least 15 Houthis in the latest airstrikes. A state of emergency has been declared in Southern California after 2 oil slicks stretching 9 miles formed off the coast. The spill near Santa Barbara was caused by a ruptured onshore pipeline. Officials said the pipeline was running at full capacity when it broke on Tuesday, and at least 100 gallons of oil may have spilled. While the leak has been stopped, it is unclear how long the cleanup will take. David Letterman approached his final hour of late-night TV on Wednesday with the same self-depreciation he displays in the previous over 6,000 episodes. Hollywood stars Steve Martin and Tina Fey, comedians Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld, and the host of former US presidents joined the band Foo Fighters to bid farewell to David Letterman. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night.